And welcome to the Prelim Gold Cup press conference. Right now we have Trinidad and Tobago, and we are welcoming the head coach, Mr. Angus Eve. If you have any questions for him, please raise your virtual hand and I will be more than happy to give you the floor. Manuel Medina, start, please.
Hi, Manuel. Well, to answer the first part of the question, we're very disappointed not to be one of the natural qualifiers as we have been in the past. Unfortunately, a lot of off-the-field issues back in our country has caused football to take a bit of a dive. And then the new format, speaking about that, I think it's good. It was a little bit different, but in the end, I think they got it right and everybody have an equal chance of getting the opportunity to go forward.
Next question, Jose Rodriguez.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about the biggest challenge that you guys have faced in the last few months, maybe separate from the pandemic, of course, and if that is, please feel free to talk about it. But what are some of the biggest challenges that you have faced in the last few months?
As I said before, it's off the field stuff, administrative stuff. We had a change of administration. We were normalized by FIFA at that point in time, and it took a lot of adjusting. And I think the on the field stuff was really affected by that whole situation. But so that would be the biggest challenge we had besides the pandemic.
Thank you. Next question, please. Paul Nicholson.
Hi, Angus. It's Paul Nicholson, Inside World Football. Obviously the off-the-field stuff has been pretty devastating. You haven't really played an awful lot. The matches you have played at times have been really poor for what a nation like Trinidad and Tobago would expect. You're coming in kind of at the last minute to try and save the day. How big a task is that? Because you're up against some spicy opponents around Montserrat for sure.
Yeah. Paul. It's a difficult task, but one that I wouldn't take the job or take the opportunity if I didn't think that we have the players. I believe in the players that we have. It's unfortunate what happened in the World Cup qualifying with the guys. I said a lot of off the field stuff really affected the team and the team's progress and the synergy of the team. But I always believe in the players, and I think that it's been a short space of time, but the enthusiasm and the refocus of the team has been brilliant so far. And we are really looking forward. And as you rightly said, Montserrat is not an easy team, but we are up to the challenge, and we want to show the people of CONCACAF that we are still to be reckoned with in the region.
Thank you. Next question, Art Bell.
Yes, thank you. Hi, Coach. There's some familiar names on your roster. Kevin Molino, of course, Aubrey David. Those are very familiar names in CONCACAF. But, kind of give us an idea about some of the younger players that you've called. Jesse Williams, a defender, Judy Garcia, a midfielder. What are their qualities that are going to help your team in this game?
But they're the future. They're the future. They bring enthusiasm. They bring freshness to the team because the team was a little bit down mentally coming out of a failed World Cup campaign. So these youngsters will bring that sort of energy, vitality. And I think people will be very surprised with the level of play that those guys would bring to the table. So, it's just a wait and see and come tomorrow and hopefully the guys believe in themselves and apply themselves in the game.
Next question, Andre Yanis.
Good afternoon, Coach. I wanted to ask you about Montserrat. What can you expect from them tomorrow from what you have studied preparing for this game? And also, would it be nice to win tomorrow and be able to watch the game of the two teams that can be your opponent if you qualify for Tuesday? Thank you.
Yeah, we're in a great position if we can win the game tomorrow because we can then see the opposition on the following day. So, yeah, that's a good position to be in. But at the end of the day, we have a game to play against not an easy opponent. Montserrat basically has a lot of players who playing in the English lower leagues. They're very seasoned campaigners. They're well coached, well organized. And those are the things that we expect from them. They will come and they would fight the game. If you ever played in the lower leagues in England, you'd know those are the type of qualities that they will come forward with.
Next question, Jose Rodriguez.
Coach, we were just talking just a few moments ago with Russell Latapi, a key figure for Trinidad, and I was just wondering how far are we from seeing that type of quality player, Stern John type players that pretty much brought Trinidad to the top in CONCACAF to compete with the top teams. How far is Trinidad from that?
I don't think we're that far off, to be fair, in the sense of there'll be different characteristics of players. Those guys were really tremendous individual players. Now we have to depend more on the team concept, but we still have people like Kalim Highland, Kevin Molino, Jovan Jones, who do have that sort of quality. Unfortunate for them, they didn't break into the English Premier League and stuff like the other guys or the Scottish Premier. But I do think that they do have the type of talent that could take them forward. And also we have young guys, as said Judah. We have Levi, who's not here. So we're still producing players at a high standard. It's just to bring it all together.
One last question, Andrea Yanis.
Coach, talking about Joey Jones today, Phil Neville, his coach, announced that he was injured. Can you talk a little bit about that and not having him for these games? Thank you.
Well, actually, we were in the stands watching the game, and it's really unfortunate for Joven and for Trinidad and Tobago not to have him, and I guess for Inter Miami also because he's a tremendous player. He brings confidence to any group that he would be in. Unfortunately, we have to play for him and not with him in this tournament because the guys are motivated. This is his stadium that we're going to play in. This is his home. So the guys are going to put out all the best to ensure that Joven feels proud of the guys and, represent him in the right way.
Thank you, Coach Eve. We will continue the press conference with Kalim Highland.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
No problem.
Hello, Mr. Highland.
Hi.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any question, please raise your virtual hand. Archibald, go ahead.
Hi, Colleen. You're such an experienced player, a veteran player, a guy who has played in so many Gold Cup games. What are you telling some of these younger guys who have yet to experience a Gold Cup what this game is going to be like tomorrow in a type of, a Gold Cup, a must win, a one-off, with a Gold Cup feel to it?
Hi. Well, I've been telling the guys, and encouraging them to go out there and play with confidence, whatever, we are doing in training, to have the confidence to apply it in the game because we have a lot of talent and I am surprised to see how much talent that a small country as Trinidad and Tobago can provide.
Next question, Andrea Yanis.
Hi, can you talk a little bit about what can you expect with Montserrat? We all know what happened with you guys in the World Cup qualifiers, and how can you turn the page around and focus on Montserrat with everyone, including us, the fans, and everyone bringing the World Cup exit every time. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we are disappointed for the World Cup qualifiers that we are out. But, that's life. We have to skip the page. Now, we are only as good as our next game. Our next game is tomorrow against Montserrat. We know it's going to be a tough game. We know, as the coach said, there's a lot of players from lower leagues in England and so on. And we know the quality that they can give. So we have to match it. And also we have to try to manage the game for 90 plus minutes. And hopefully we can come out victorious at the end.
Thank you. Andreanas, go ahead again.
Thank you. I wanted to ask you about Jovin Jones. I asked the coach right now. Today it was announced that he would be out for a couple of months, maybe. Have you talked to him, and what did he say? What did he say about the national team and about his injury?
Yeah, well, Jovin Jones is a good friend of mine. He came by on a couple of occasions to check us at the hotel and stuff. He will surely be missed because not only he's a great player, he have a great spirit, and he's also a funny character that we need and love him when he's in camp with the national team. He always makes you laugh. He keeps you going, and we will miss him. We just wish him speedy recovery, and we have to win the game for him, as coach said.
Last question, Paul Nicholson, go ahead.
Hi, yeah, it was mentioned. Coach mentioned obviously the off the field problems, and you needed to put that behind you to really start to progress again. How easy is that? Because I mean, it's a very heated atmosphere in Trinidad and Tobago. There's hugely important football. How easy is that to leave behind you and go out there and actually play the real game, and express yourselves to the way that, to bring out that talent that you've been talking about, because it hasn't been showing in the last few games. I mean, are you feeling in a good place to be able to do that now?
Yeah, well, as we know, Rome wasn't built in a day, and when we have problems, now we are changing things around. Now we have a new start. This is a fresh environment now. We have a new coach. We have new staff. Everything has been going smooth in the camp. Training has been great, intense. The spirit, the chemistry has been going good. And we, as I said, we are only as good as our next game. So hopefully everything can change tomorrow, and then we can come out from the hole we are in. And we are players, we are footballers, we cannot study much about the politics things. We have to go out there and play. There's a lot of things that can break our concentration. By the end of the day, this is sport. It have politics going on around the world, and we as players just have to focus on doing the job. And it's nothing better than playing football and doing the job that you love.
Thank you, Mr. Hyland. And with that, we finished the press conference. Yes, so if you have any questions for our head coach, please raise your virtual hand and I will let you speak. Manuel Medina, go ahead.
Well, it's a great honour for us to represent Montserrat. It's a beautiful place, beautiful people, and it's all based on good, hard-working, honest players who have got a great team spirit, work for each other, and that's what's got us so far. And hopefully we carry it on tomorrow against Trinidad. Well, it'll be a very, very hard game, obviously, but miracles do happen.
Next question, Greg Berwin.
Yes, congratulations first of all on achieving Montserrat's first major tournament. Can you tell us a bit about the squad? There are some familiar players missing. You've got some very young players in there who haven't yet made their debut for Montserrat. Are you comfortable with the squad? Are you satisfied with it? Do you think it's competitive?
Coaches are never satisfied. You always want to get better, but as I said before, it's like a real brotherhood. Our team, they're very close. Really support each other no matter what happens. Never say die attitude. It's been a privilege for me to work with them. It's like an old-fashioned team who don't play for the money or anything, but they just love their country and love each other. It's quite a beautiful situation.
Thank you. Next question, please. Paul Nicholson, go ahead.
Hi, Willie. Obviously, in Lyle Taylor, you've got an outstanding goal scorer. How important is he? Are his goals obviously going forward? And have you got an alternative to him if he doesn't score?
Well, Lyle's very important. He's one of the leaders in the team, but we've got many leaders. That's one of our strengths. And obviously his goals are very important. But we have other players who can score, and sometimes you have to rely on others, and 1-0 would do us. One goal from anywhere would be enough. But Lyle's a leader of the team, and he's very important. But as I said, we have other leaders like James, the vice captain, Nathan Pond, the central defender, some very experienced players who are also great leaders.
If there are any further questions, please raise your hand. Paul Nicholson, go ahead.
Obviously a lot of those guys are coming out of England's, certainly a big predominance out of England, sort of South London, dog-eat-dog football environment. Is that part of that success? Does that make a big difference against some of these nations where they perhaps haven't come across that kind of never say die attitude before? Let's face it, you throw a seven at some of these guys, you're going to get a brick back. So
I understand the question. Yeah. And it reminds me of when I coached at Oldham, the manager mistakenly called our midfield the Dogs of War, but they were very good players, and it's the same with the Montserrat team. They're very competitive, very strong, but very honest, and also very skillful. And it's just the way we believe the game should be played. And we talked about it today. The Germany against England game recently, it was full of fear, both teams not wanting to lose, whereas we try to be positive all the time, make it an entertaining game where there's a lot of action and things happening. This is the sort of football I like to watch, not negative, fearful football. So that's basically our style of play.
Thank you. Next question, Greg Berwin. Greg, go ahead. We can come back to you.
Sorry,
okay, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, yes, you yourself have played at World Cups, been in World Cup squads. Can't be many coaches in the Gold Cup who've been to World Cups. Is your own experience of being a player in a tournament of that profile helpful to you as a coach in this situation?
I think so. Hopefully I'm understanding of the players' needs and how I can help them. I've always been told that the main job of a leader is to serve. So any way I can, I try and help the players, but to support them and encourage them, that's what I believe in. So yeah, it's useful. Hopefully. So far it seems to have been useful because we've good results. But you know what it's like when things go wrong, the coach is usually the first one to be blamed. But as I said before, we have a great spirit in Montserrat, that everybody's together, supportive of each other. But it's all about good players. My experience hopefully will help, but it's about good players, the game.
Last question, Andrew Yanis, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Coach. I wanted to ask you, what is the most interesting that you have seen from your rivals in a football field? Thank you.
Sorry, what's the most interesting? Did you catch
Yanis, can you please ask your question again?
I'm on mute. I don't know if you hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry. What is the most interesting thing you have seen in the football field from your rivals tomorrow? Technically, tactically, what is the most interesting thing for you that could benefit your game for tomorrow?
I'm not giving you any secrets. No, they're a very skillful, strong, athletic team. We have to match that. They've got some very skillful players all over the pitch. But we need to concentrate on our strengths and not worry too much about theirs. That's how I've always approached the game, to be aware of their strengths, but more focus on us. So we'll just be playing our game tomorrow, and hopefully that's enough. Thanks for the question, though.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach, for your time.
Welcome.
We will continue the press conference with James Comley. Hello to the press conference. We have James Comley. Please raise your hand to ask your questions. Manuel Medina, go ahead.
For us, it's just about the next game. You can't look backwards. You can't look too far forwards. It's just about the next game. So obviously the fixture coming up tomorrow, we will go into it the same way we always do. Look to play our game, look to work hard together, and hopefully go and win the game, go and impress. And that's about it for us. We're just ready for this fixture and leave everything on the pitch. That's how we go into it, and that's how we look to come out with the result.
Next question, Greg Berwin.
Yes, you've been one of the longest serving players with the Montserrat team, and you've seen it evolve over the years. But this year it seems to have picked up. You seem to be playing with more pace, more variety in your play. Is this something you're conscious of as a player? How you seem now? You seem more confident, more dynamic, more successful as well. How does that feel as a player? Is this something you work on in training?
Well, I mean, we've had good players that have been here before. We've had more and more good players coming in, the players that are playing at really good levels. It's obviously helpful when the better the team gets, the better the players inside that team become. I mean, you're only as good as the players around you, and we have started to build a really good squad. It's a squad game, not just the 11 on the field. And you see it in training. You see the standards of they pick up, the levels are raised. So hopefully it continues to go on like that. We continue to build, and we're just waiting for our big moment. And hopefully this is it. This tournament can be it for us.
Andrea Yanis, go ahead with your question.
Hello, do you hear me? Sorry. Good afternoon, James. I wanted to ask you about a constant comment that we've heard today from coaches and new players. Is this new format for qualifying for the Gold Cup with Nations Leagues and all the games that have given the opportunity to all the Caribbean and Central American countries to be part of CONCACAF in a bigger way? What is your opinion on that? And if you could talk a little bit about what it means for your country. Thank you.
Firstly, good afternoon. And yeah, for sure. I mean, when I first made my debut, it was in 2015 against Curacao. That was a World Cup qualifier. And then we didn't have any fixtures, competitive fixtures, for around 3 years. Obviously, there was a lot of stuff going on in the background with FIFA or whoever was in charge at that time, and there just wasn't enough opportunities for a lot of the teams in the Caribbean. And obviously, since the Nations League has come into play, it's given us a lot more opportunity to just show what we've got. The squad come together again in 2018. We had a few of the old faces, a few of the new faces, and it's really given us a chance to shine and show what we have and put ourselves on the map. And it's been really good. And every player's thankful. Every player's enjoying the opportunity they've had. And hopefully we continue to make the most of it.
Are there any further questions? Andrea Yanis, you can ask the last question. Thank you very much.
About the game tomorrow, what can you expect? We know Trinidad is one of the biggest Caribbean teams, but they do not live in a good moment. And watching the draw and all the possibilities that would open for you guys winning tomorrow, how do you come to this game, and what mentality do you guys have for tomorrow?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Sorry. Trinidad coming as one of the biggest Caribbean countries in the history of CONCACAF, but not living their best moment. Is that a motivation for you, and how does that help you for the mentality tomorrow?
Not necessarily. I mean, whether they're in their best moment or their worst moment, we've still got to face the team that's in front of us. So we don't really worry about what the opposition's dealing with or what kind of circumstances they have going on. We just deal with what we've got. We look at our cards and how we can use them. And that's what we've done leading up to this game. That's what we do leading up to any game. And hopefully we continue to do that and we can get the result that we want.